Welcome to another NGWA Industry Connected video. My name is John Fowler. I'm a safety manager with National Exploration Wells and Pumps. I'm a certified safety professional, certified mine safety professional. I've been in the industry for a little over 20 years now, various places from the oil field to the Arctic to the Antarctic. And then for the past 15 years, I've been in mineral exploration. So today, what I'm going to talk to you about is safety meetings and really the importance of communication and making sure that everybody out there in the field knows about any potential hazards, incidents that would affect them on their jobs. So when we talk about safety meetings, there's of course a wide variety of safety meetings we can do. We can do an informal safety meeting where people just get together and just kind of chat. We can do the more formal ones, which is where you have the guys get together and chat, and then maybe you document it somehow. You can either write it on paper, of course, or there are apps out there in this wonderful age. There are apps that can record all that kind of thing. And then there's also the kind of safety meetings where maybe a management or a supervisor will put together some topics and send that out to the crews in the field or bring that out to the crews in the field. And then that will allow them to go over some topics that management thinks is important. All of those are good. There's really not such a thing as a bad safety meeting, because the more communication, the better. So there's advantages to all of that. I do think that there is a place, an important place for the safety meetings when some sort of supervisor or management sends out topics. Obviously, what the crews talk about or what they decide to talk about is very important, but a lot of times it's the management or the supervisors that have sort of the 38,000-foot view, way up, looking over the industry as a whole, and they can see things that happen in other parts of the industry and say, hey, you know what, this might affect us out in the field, so we're going to send it to our crews. So you kind of have the big picture and the little picture. I know that a lot of rigs, if you're working 24 hours, you're going to have some sort of a changeover meeting where the day shift and the night shift talk to each other. And that's good. And usually they do that every shift. So that's kind of like a smaller safety meeting if you have 24-hour operations. But even if you don't, even if you're just working day shift out there with the same crew, it's really good that even the guys on the crew get together and talk. A lot of times the assumption is made that everyone on a drill crew knows what's going on at all times, but you'd be amazed at how many times maybe the driller and the lead hand think they know what's going on, but maybe a new guy, that other helper, he has no idea what's going on. So communication is so important. So what do you want to talk about out there? Well, when the guys on the crew want to talk about whatever's affecting them on the crew. So a lot of times, maybe if there's a piece of equipment that's not working right, if something is overheating, if there's some maintenance that needs to be done, these are all great topics for safety meetings. When management gets involved, management as supervisor, that's when we can kind of send out a little more information, things that we think will help the guys in the field, things that a lot of times the guys in the field might forget about, for example. Like you might want to say, hey, for this week, we want you guys to take a look at your fall protection, or maybe we just want you guys to talk about fall protection. There's also a lot of industry information out there that you can send out to the crews. So a lot of times if a supervisor or manager is looking at topics to send out to the crews in the field, they can go to websites like mshaw.gov. So that's MSHA's website. Also OSHA.gov, two very good websites. I'm sure everyone out there just loves to peruse the government OSHA and MSHA websites, but they do have a lot of very good information on them. And you can look at the different topics they have and see if any of those topics are, are something to do with what you're doing out there in the field. See if any of them apply to what you're doing. And then you can take some of that, and a lot of them are already made for printing out if you want to send some printouts to the field for the guys to look over. So OSHA and MSHA, that they have really good topics for safety meetings. Also, you can talk to your client. No, I know a lot of us out there, or a lot of you are doing work domestic water wells, so that's not really applicable. But if you're ever in the situation where you are on a commercial project and you have a commercial client, a lot of times those guys are more than happy to share safety meetings with you. And a lot of times you'll get a lot of kudos if you do a safety meeting and involve the client. So that's just a little commercial. Once again, we're talking commercial water wells right here, but a lot of the clients are more than happy to come in and sit in on you with a safety meeting. They'll be very happy that you're doing one. But so you can go to MSHA, OSHA websites, The client can perhaps provide you with information. Also, another really good place to look are the various industry websites of the various pieces of equipment that you're using, whether it's your drill rig, also perhaps whoever it is that you buy your fall protection from. Maybe it's the company that you buy your slings and rigging from, but that's a great place to go to not only get really important information like recalls. This you guys probably know, but it's pretty typical just across the industry to have a recall from time to time on either some piece of PPE or something like that. So it's a good idea to keep an eye on those industry websites or talk to your supplier about that. And of course, if there is any kind of recall, that is very important to get out to the field. But talk to the various industries. They'll have good talking points. I know it's a really good practice. Just sort of rotate through if you really want to start getting fancy with your safety meetings, is to say, okay, maybe in the first quarter, there'll be at least one safety meeting on fall protection. And then in the second quarter, there'll be a safety meeting on slings and rigging, that kind of thing. And maybe fire extinguisher inspections. But you can kind of plan out, if you really want to get fancy, you can kind of plan out the safety meetings to really not only get the information out in the field, but to really emphasize certain whatever it is that you're looking to emphasize. So you can emphasize certain safety issues, like I said, fall protection, fire extinguisher, that kind of thing. But that's all great and well. That's all great and good to have the management and supervisors involved, but it all comes down to the guys in the field. And it's so important for them to feel like they can talk to each other and feel like they're being supported from management. So listen, don't just send them information. And it's a really good idea to review the safety meetings. That's why I think it's great when you actually document them, when you write them down, because that way you can look at it and you'd be surprised when you look at some of these safety meetings and you see that they were talking about something that you did not know even was an issue. Sometimes even like driving to work, there might be some road construction or something like that. And those things have come up in safety meetings and really said, oh yeah, that's a really good catch. We should take that into account when we're doing this job. So communication is so important. Also, something to, if you have more than one rig, if perhaps you have a bigger operation, or maybe some different drilling companies out there, but without a doubt, if something happens in drilling, if there's an injury or there's a high potential near miss, that really should get out as quick as possible. So if you have another rig, or like I say, if you know someone in the industry and they have something that happens, without naming them, without trying to make them look bad, but get that information out there. So get it out to your crews, because it really, really would be terrible if somebody got hurt because of something which has already happened before, but the person who got hurt didn't even know it happened the first time. So it is so important to get that information out there. And there's a lot of different places where you can go. Now, one of the big things about these safety meetings is communicating really injuries and incidents. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but OSHA requires that OSHA 300A log to be posted from February to April. So it's a log of incidents, all right, injuries, I should say, that happen. Well, the reason that OSHA wants people to do that is because they want that kind of information out there. So I'm not sitting here telling you to start telling everyone on the crews about somebody who is injured, because you can't do that. But it is a good idea that if there is somebody injured, that you at least let everyone know the general circumstances of what happened, so that we can learn from this. Because just like with near misses and hazards, which is a topic I've talked about before, communication is so critical. And it's not just communication coming down from supervisors, coming down from management. It's that communication also going back up from the crews in the field. Absolutely critical. So thank you for listening, and be safe out there. Thank you.